Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of our 4th Age Total War Dunlanding campaign. And in this one, we open with an interesting piece of news. We have acquired a new ancillary, a new retinue member for our High Chieftain Sheld of Dunkreok. This is, of course, Harrymore, the Lord Black. And this is a very, very strong retinue member that kind of passes around between a few different factions in the mod. He starts off in the possession of the leader of the Kingdom of Adunabar, fittingly enough, because that is the main cultic faction in the 4th Age mod. But upon that leader's death, he can move around, and he has popped up in the retinue of my High Chieftain all the way in the Hornburg. Now, Hornburg is still technically ways of the west in terms of its alignment, but my High Chieftain is not. He is shadow-touched. I have not really checked all of my family members to see how many of them still hold to the old ways, the ways of darkness, but some of them can certainly switch over. Really, just about any character in the mod has the potential for becoming shadow-touched. And so, given that he's the faction leader, given that he's shadow-touched, I think that's kind of the trigger for this ancillary. And as you can see, there's a whole lot of flavor text here. What this does is drastically increases the shadow conversion. So this is going to make things a lot easier. Plus 50% conversion to the ways of the shadow cult. Now this hurts his command, so he's not going to be as good of a governor. I guess the thinking there is that this is a, I don't know, he's more concerned with just spreading his religion than he is with fighting, I guess. Possibly the idea is that it sort of unnerves his followers, his companions in battle, but it also gives an increase to bribery costs, so that's fine, I guess. I mean, you wouldn't have that issue with a faction leader anyway. But let's take a look at what the settlement conversion looks like now. Yeah, there's our 50% from the Lord Black, and then we've got 5% of that is due to Sheld himself, and we are only a few points behind the ways of the west. If we get some buildings going up there, then we will, and in fact we can begin this immediately. We can start Groves of the Shadow, and I think I will do that. That's going to increase by 25% what we have there already. We've already got 10, so that's going to get it up, let's see, 25 more. That's going to get it up tied with Ways of the West, and then we'll start to see some conversion in terms of the population. Now, the settlement will not flip in terms of its actual official alignment until the buildings of Shadow Cult are greater than the buildings of Ways of the West. So that's how that works. We will get there at some point. You can also see that Rohan seems to be gathering its forces for another go, possibly at the Hornburg, maybe at Edoras. They're going to attack one of these two places, and probably with this army, which I can't really identify quite what they have. There could be a lot of very strong stuff that we hadn't fought yet. It could be a lot of stuff mostly from the Wold, which would be low tier, but I guess we'll have to see. And the other bit of news since the last episode, really we've just passed a single turn, is that Tharbad is going straight for our capital. They're not being subtle at all about this. They're sending Haleth of Western Cardolan and some kind of tough units over there to Dunhold, and I've only got the heir, Kugga of Anghal, inside with a single unit of tribal spearmen. Now, I've got a full stack down here, but of course the risk is, if we take them out, Tharbad could theoretically move right back in. I was hoping we could just build up, their Homeland Dominion again, build walls, and then take this army north when things were a little more safe, or just move north before they started to do anything else. And, maybe that's what I'll do. Probably the best way to get an AI out of your territory is to get on their territory. So let's take everybody here. We'll leave a single small unit of tribal spearmen. Okay, and we've got some Tharbad folks right up here. Maybe I'll hit them. They're going to withdraw. We're now kind of on their territory. And, I mean, actually, we've got quite good line of sight with this character. Let me just check his traits. Warlike doesn't give him any line of sight. He's a poor commander. That doesn't do anything to it. Open-handed, attacker, accommodating. Nope, none of that really impacts his line of sight as far as I can tell. But at any rate, we can see pretty well here, and maybe this will scare this group away to sort of defend Greyholm. But in the meantime, I think we want to train something at Dunhold and something fast. We've got Wolf Hunters, they take 2 seasons. Pikes take 1, but I don't think we're going to be facing any of those types of, cavalry that would really be a problem. We could go with Warhounds. It feels a little cheesy sometimes because War Dogs are really difficult to deal with for us as well as for the AI. But I guess Dunlandish Axemen might be just the simplest option. And since we can get outside, let's see if there's any mercenaries. Unfortunately, no. So we'll just be on our own here. We do have a couple units of cavalry, which we could move over here this very turn. And so we can also, let's train another unit. And then we'll get all of them up there, and hopefully that'll be enough to defend our capital. If not, I guess we'll have to scramble these guys back east. Okay, so we do have a couple of sieges going on now. We do have an army of Rohan outside the Hornburg. There's that big force, and they've got a couple of Shields of the Mark, at least 2 of these units. Very nice unit, actually. Spears, both throwing and for melee use, so I guess they may have 3 of them. And then a lot of Axes of the Mark. Actually, this could be a pretty difficult army to deal with. Inside, just as a reminder, what do we have? Well, it looks like a big force, but actually maybe not quite so scary on closer inspection. We will have, of course, the advantage of the better ground. We've got our faction leader inside with a lot of men. We've got a lot of archers, a lot of spear throwers. So I think we'll be okay if they assault, which they probably will. The other siege is up at Dunland, where, yes, Tharbad has decided to go ahead and put us under siege. I'm going to ignore that with my big army. We're going to move right over here towards Greyholm. I'm not going to play coy. We can grab some mercenaries. Let's see. We'll just combine these units, and now we can get all of these guys, and now we have a full stack. Let's hit the army outside of Greyholm. They're going to stick around and fight. Let's see what they have. They've got some Axemen of Tharbad, Spears of the Bridge, and Tharbad Militia. And inside the settlement, the heir, Yorlas of Greyholm. And he's got 55 men. I've only got 37 for my bodyguard. But hopefully we'd be able to deal with this. All right, from here we can actually see the settlement over there off to our right. So that's where the big reinforcement army is going to come from. But straight ahead of us, let's see, they'll probably be deploying right up there. I don't know if they'll try to do anything clever and hide in the woods, but maybe we'll do that, give that a shot at any rate. Let's see, we've got archers in the front and the back, mercenaries in the front. The one thing you always want to check is to make sure you've got your infantry guys on fire at will, because typically they are not initially, so you always want to set that. And, you know, also always beware not to let your general be killed by, you know, your own javelins. So that's going to be something that we will try to pay attention to in this episode. Let's see. Okay, they're off pretty far in the distance there. Let's just go straight into the woods. I'll speed up the action a little bit. Let's see. They've got a big stone sort of outcrop to work around. I think I'll ignore this army, actually. This is certainly the much more dangerous one. And, of course, the smaller army can swing in and hit us, but if we're fighting in the woods, I think I'd feel a little bit better. A lot of our units are going to get that combat bonus in the woods, and I don't think any of Tharbad's do. All right, we're moving in. Now, my consolation, if we happen to not get the settlement on this attack, my consolation will be that actually that may be better. And the reasoning for that is what we want to do at this point is draw Tharbad away from our own settlement at Dunland, right? And if we have their settlement under siege, they will be more likely to pull away from that siege of Dunland and come back to rescue it. If we take Greyholm in this battle, the disadvantage is I don't know that that will actually pull Dunland towards us. They may instead just keep up the siege or maybe move to another settlement or something. Okay, so here we've got the general coming in, and of course this is a messy, awful battle of you know, under the trees. Let's move our cavalry around though. We'll let everybody throw javelins. They're doing their passive fear stuff already. Alright, Ryador spearmen coming in. The other army's just standing there, so that's wonderful. Our cavalry... Oh, did our wolf hunters just charge? I think they just charged without orders. Possibly. Maybe not. Alright, we've got cavalry. Where'd they go? Alright, they're right here. Let's bring them up here. We'll hit the Mariner Bowmen. Move in from behind. Okay, since these guys are no longer firing, we'll war cry them. throw them into the Axemen of Tharbad, and this unit can, I guess, hit the Merchant Guard. All right, Mariner Bowmen. We should quickly deal with them, I would think. All right, I just heard the Head for the Hills order. All right, we've got some routing happening over there on the main army of Tharbad. This army is withdrawing. They'll probably get to the settlement. I'm not going to make too big of a concerted push to pursue them. I would like to kill the enemy general, the family member. In fact, now might be a good time to get my own general over here, just so he can get a few kills in when it's kind of safe. But yeah, all these guys are just going to get away. Mariner Swordsman, it's unfortunate. This is a unit that I would like to deal with. Let's maybe cause a few casualties, I guess. How about that? But these other units, not a big deal, really. We've got Spears of the Bridge, which is essentially a Dunedainic militia-style unit. And we've got what? Very low militia guys and axemen. So all stuff we can deal with. If we can get a few javelins cast in on these Mariner Swordsmen, I'm not going to turn that down. Let's see, how is the enemy general doing? He's still fighting. We've got our general in there as well at this point. They're losing heavily. Okay, good. When they start to rout, we need to pull our general out because there's still javelins and arrows to be thrown, and we want to make sure that they don't do him in. All right, there he goes. This is a very dangerous moment now. Halt the general. Halt everybody. The enemy general is not dead. And there's going to be a bunch of javelins coming in now. Let's see. There's just one of them left. I mean, we've got to kill him. There goes a wolf hunter. And our horsemen are throwing. If he doesn't get shot down pretty soon, I'll be a little disappointed, but I think that's got to happen. Wow. Pretty good armor on this guy. And these guys are going to start throwing their javelins now. I mean, how many spears is he just shrugging off? Now, granted, a lot of these are missing. He's still running. He's made it like a football field, essentially. There we go, finally. All right, almost made it away, but we would have run him down with Cav anyway. So yeah, with that, this army is going to retreat back inside Greyholm, and we will put it under siege. We've got the movement points to do so, build a few rams. I'm not necessarily sure that I'm going to assault it. Again, what we're going to try to do is use it as a bit of bait. Okay, we can't actually reach this guy quite yet. Even with roads in Dunland, the movement in this area is pretty low. So we're going to move the cavalry just somewhere we can set up an ambush, preferably with this third unit too. Well, we'll get them kind of close anyway, and we'll set you guys up like here. I don't know that we actually want to trigger an ambush because we will be outmatched for sure, but it might be fun to just see how much damage we could do on the way out. Otherwise, yeah, let's go for another cav unit. They're just easy to get up there. And otherwise, in terms of building, I mean, we've got a decent amount of money coming in. We've got these sieges going on now, so that's putting a dent in things. So I think I'm going to hold off. Well, we're still under siege of the Hornburg, and let's see. They have built some rams and ladders. We can get a closer look at the army here. Only 2 units of Shields of the Mark. That's good news. Some cav, you know, a mix, good mix, I guess. We've got levies of Rohan as well as these axes of the Mark. I think we can take it. But the better news is that our ploy worked. We've pulled away this army from Dunland, and we have got them to pay attention to us outside the siege of Greyholm. Now, I'm not sure that I actually want to pursue this siege because there might be other things I could do instead. For example, there's an opportunity for us to just take the Southguard Fort. So maybe I'll do that. And, oh my gosh, that's going to be a rather torturous route. Let's see. If I attack this army... Okay, we've actually got... Oh, we've got an opportunity to do this here. All right, let's see that. Okay, that's not going to work. And that's going to put us right next to the settlement. Okay. I didn't plan that out very well. Back to the siege it is then. We've got no movement points to attack the fort. But we'll probably get the settlement next turn if we get attacked by some of these armies, as long as they're not too tough. We also have to hope that this army doesn't turn back towards Anghal. I don't think it will, though. So what I'm going to do now is we'll just continue moving these armies up sneakily. Just the cavalry guys, and we'll move them just so that they can be close to support wherever. And as for Dunland, we want to keep up the training. We can definitely retrain those tribal spears. Let's go with some more axemen. And in terms of our income, we're making a little bit more now. And I figure we can go for a market. It's not going to increase our trade all that much because we're, of course, at war with Tharbad. But once we take some more territory from them, this will add up. And it is going to help population growth, which is also kind of nice since we're training a lot out of here. Okay, as predicted, we're attacked by Tharbad. This is Elfhelm of Londare with 38 of his finest Mariner's Guard or Merchant's Guard. And then we've got here Haleth of Western Cardland. This is the army that was besieging us. Okay, so this has some tough units. We've got the heir with a lot of men. Tharbad pikemen, these are quite good. Obviously, they're more of an anti-cavalry unit, but they're really solid infantry just in their own right. And then 2 units of Mariner swordsmen. So this is going to be an interesting one. All right, so we've taken up a bit of a weird position. The main army that is attacking us is actually down here. And what do they have? It looks like they've got this cav, they've got axemen, and a bodyguard unit. They're going to be coming up the hill, though. But it looked when I was setting up that the main army, yes, or the army of the settlement is coming from right over here. And a larger reinforcing army is coming from all the way down there, I guess. Possibly that way. So we're going to have a lot of them coming up the hill towards us, and this seemed like a nice little safe place to try to defend. Now, that said, we don't have a lot of really defensive units. We've got a lot of archers, so we've got them kind of in the back rank with fire at will turned on and skirmish turned off. In the front, we've got some Dunlanding mercenaries as well as some tribal spearmen and our axemen. These guys are mostly, well, some of them are hidden. A bit further back, we've got our wolf hunters. I don't want them to come into the fight too soon. Pikemen as well, we want to keep back for when we want to use them, and of course the general we want to keep safe. Over in the woods, a couple of units of our Dunlandish horsemen in hiding. Alright, it looks like they're converging on us now, and over here from the settlement, we weren't able to see what this army consisted of, but right, these are the guys we chased off in the last battle. So just some Tharbad militia, spears of the bridge, and axemen of Tharbad. So I imagine we'll see them off with just our axemen alone, and then we want to be careful because coming up from over here we've got merchant scouts, and although our cavalry are hidden, it's not going to be long before they're discovered. I'm also a little worried about these bowmen kind of sticking out here. Let's see, maybe this would be a good use of our pikemen. Let's get them rushing over here, turn the axemen around to kind of face them, and get our cavalry ready. And in fact, maybe what we will do is send them right at these merchant scouts. Because this is a pretty light unit, they're a fast unit, but we've got javelins, and they don't have shields. Let's see how much damage we can do here. Alright, already getting some kills, not too many. And they are charging us, and we're not on skirmish because I took them off skirmish. Okay, everybody run away. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. 43 men. All right, halt. They're halting. No, they're not. It's a fake out. Of course, everybody's attacking at the same time, doing what the AI does. All right, where's my other cav? Where's my other cav? Okay, over here. Great. Bring these guys around behind here. I'm not going to make it. Let's see. We've got enough that we could actually corner them, I think. So I'm going to charge in with this other unit of cav. And we'll bring my cav around there. They'll at least be getting shot at. Here, yep, we're doing just fine on this line. Axemen and Tharbad are charging in, but let's get our wolf hunters war-crying, firing their javelins. And where's our cav? Where's our cav? Okay. Are you... okay, great. We've got these guys sandwiched, although they are winning. Winning easily. Yep, winning easily. They're pretty decent in melee, it turns out, if they get a charge on. We do outnumber them. We might be able to take this out, but otherwise that's going to be a part of the battle we just won't be able to deal with. Okay, let's turn around and face that guy. In fact, let's bring the general in. And the wolf hunters. Okay, mercenaries have followed through quite a bit. And so they're now in the front line. They must have... Actually, you know what? Charge the enemy general. Let's bring the cavalry in on that too. And we still haven't dealt with the mariners. Alright, we've got the Axemen of Tharbad routing, which is wonderful. These guys have done a war cry. You want to let that sit for a second. And then charge him in. Okay, we got that enemy warlord. This guy's routing. That means halt everybody. Let's chase him with, like, our axemen, I guess. Over here, let's find out the where the other units are. All right, what's this? Mariner swordsmen reloading against our axemen. Okay, they did not charge. They walked leisurely towards the enemy. There is a bit of an issue with this game. Maybe it's just my mouse, but I don't think so. In terms of detecting the double click. Alright, we took out that enemy general. So a lot of times you'll see me clicking repeatedly to charge. Like as though I didn't just order it. Alright, I get my king in on this action. That's probably not a great idea. Let's have him go after this merchant guard unit. Tribal spearmen are all I have left over here. Alright, we'll sandwich him. I think that should be fine. And then we've got these swordsmen. And then we've got pikes, I guess. These pikes are not making it up the hill. Oh, we've got some cav. Okay, some more cav. That should be fine, though. I guess we've already dealt with the pikes, or they're somewhere where I've not been able to follow. Okay, here we go. Tharbad pikemen losing heavily. Very nice. Over here, Mariner swordsmen still doing fine. I think this guy's just about done for here. Yeah, losing heavily. We're chopping him down from the front, from all different angles. Our bowmen are in on this, unfortunately, but what can you do? And that unit may be turning to flee. I'm not totally sure. Okay, let's go ahead and just pile on to these guys. It's actually pikes versus pikes again, so that's pretty cool. Our tribal pikes are holding their own against these Tharbad pikemen. Of course, we've got assistance of wolf hunters and other units. Awesome. There goes the other enemy captain, and these guys are going to rout as a result of that. Let's pull our general back. No, actually, there's no fighting going on there. Very good. But our cavalry are almost all eliminated here. Now, we do have... Okay, there's that unit of pikes I was wondering about. Should we chase them? Yeah, I think so. Let's run down here. Get all of these units who are still able to fight right down the hill after the pikes. Now, they may just leave the battlefield, but we're going to do our best. Yeah, it actually looks like the pikes are interested in turning around to fight. So let's see. Do we have some archers in this? Let's halt them. Already getting some firing going. These guys are shaken. Alright, they're wavering. They're probably going to rout before they get to us. There they go. Alright, we'll chase these guys down and get back to the campaign map. Oh, and I didn't even notice, but there was a cavalry charge on my left happening while I was paying close attention to the pikes. But these guys broke of their own volition. Let's continue that. Let's see. They took out a few of our wolf hunters, though. Let's halt. We'll just have them deal with this via javelins. And unfortunately, while that was counted as a heroic victory by the game, it was not enough to get us Grey home. I guess they just had a few too many units. Possibly that was the cav that just withdrew from the battlefield. So we will have to assault that. Well, a clear victory there, a pretty straightforward one. There was just a single unit of Tharbad militia inside the plaza, so it was just a matter of getting a couple of rams up to the gates and bashing through. The reinforcements did sneak their cavalry in, but we dealt with them pretty quickly. As you can see, we only took about 20 losses or so, so not a bad return. And that is enough to get us the settlement, Greyholm. And this is a very, very depopulated settlement. We would only be getting rid of a little over 400 men, so we may as well just occupy it. And inside here, we can lower the taxes, should have no trouble holding it for a while, and start destroying stuff. But strategically, the important thing is that now Greyholm, which is a nice walled settlement, should be drawing a lot of the attention of Tharbad. Now, inside, it does have to be said, this army is pretty weak. It's basically made of everything I could kind of throw together, and so we don't have even very many of these stronger or more intimidating units like the Wolf Hunters, 22 in one unit, 9 in the other. So we'll have to keep getting reinforcements over there. But that is the plan, of course. Another issue is that there is one more settlement of Tharbad down here, Lond-Dare, and it's a very small province. I don't think it borders any settlement that we own other than Greyholm, which actually does stretch fairly far down the southern shore of the Grey Flood. But right about here that ends, and controlling the mouth of the river is that settlement of Lond-Dare, which is almost certainly still held by Tharbad. So they may attack us back up from this direction or from across the river, but this is our new frontier. Now, I think this makes a pretty decent point for us to end the episode, a little bit of a shorter one during the, I guess, the holiday season here as we're kind of dealing with the aftermath of Thanksgiving and getting ready for the next stages and so on. But when we come back, we're going to keep pushing north, of course. I don't want to stop until we own Tharbad and possibly the fortifications to the north of it as well. At that point, we can switch our attention over to the Misty Mountains. And so that, I anticipate, is going to be really the bulk of the next episode. We're just going to finish off Tharbad right around the river, controlling this choke point, and then beginning to conquer along the western slopes of the Misty Mountains. I want to get up towards Rivendell, I want to get up into Rudour, and of course, ultimately up into Angmar. So I hope you'll join me for that in the next episode, folks. Until then, take care.